What is your favorite horror game? Is it Amnesia, maybe Until Dawn, or maybe you're like me and you don't really like horror games? And it's not that I'm a pussy, it's just I'm a pussy that doesn't like getting scared. This extends to shit like haunted houses and even horror movies to some extent. It's just never really been my vibe. Or at least it wasn't for a while. I guess the older that I got, the more interested I became in the potential of the horror genre. And I've tried out a bunch of horror films and horror games. I just never got super invested, but that was until I was gifted a copy of the co-op ghost hunting horror game Phasmophobia, and I think that it is, without a doubt, one of the scariest games I've played, and one of the most fun at the same time. So let's go ahead and talk about why. If you don't know anything about it, Phasmophobia is the debut game from indie developer Kinetic Games, and it's a co-op ghost hunting horror game that can be played in both VR and without it. And like I said, it's one of the scariest games that I've ever played, and yet also just really fun. I'll be splitting this video up into 3 segments, 1 being atmosphere, 2 being the mechanics of the game, and 3 being the randomness. All 3 of these are important to what I mean when I say this game is one of the scariest I have ever played. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the atmosphere. Atmosphere is one of the most important things in any type of horror media. Whether it's a novel, movie, or video game, the atmosphere has to do a lot of heavy lifting to make the experience any type of scary, and to no surprise, Phasmophobia's atmosphere is really great. Outside of the house or whatever map you're doing, it's likely raining and loud. You hear the ambience of the outside, and everything is mainly drowned out by that, with the thunder and the lightning. But the second that you enter the location, it is utter quiet. You've now entered somebody else's domain, and you are now forced to witness every single sound and moment that they want you to. Instantly, the white noise of the rain is removed, and you're left with the eerie, quiet darkness that surrounds you, and I have to say, it's pretty fucking awesome. Every creak makes you intrigued. The sound of doors locking disturbs you. Was it upstairs or was it the front door right behind you that you just walked in through? Whether or not you find any evidence at all or see the ghost whatsoever, searching for where it is with a stupid flashlight and a thermometer becomes one of the most terrifying things I've gone through, and I hadn't even seen anything yet. But you will, eventually. And the simple moments where you hear a ghost make a sound are truly frightening. I often find myself more frightened by the complete lack of evidence than I do when I find something. Speaking of something turning up and evidence, let's go ahead and talk about section 2 of the game, which is the mechanics. Atmosphere can only go so far, and while I did say this game is quite scary without any type of paranormal activity, said activity does make the game even better. Phasmophobia is really neat as it uses voice recognition software to actually take what you say and put it in the game. I think the clearest example of this is the spirit box. When you ask the ghost a question in its room, it'll tell you an answer based on what you just said. Can you give us a sign?
Freezing temperatures, by the way.
What do you want? Where are you? Where are you? When this happens, it's actually pretty frightening, mainly because not every ghost will respond to it, and I've had games where nothing happens and then the ghost will instantly say something into the spirit box, shocking me. Other times it responds only for something loud as hell to happen in like a second later.
What do you want?
Okay.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Alright. The game also utilizes your mic even when you're not using a tool. You can ask the ghost to give you a sign or close the door and it probably will. Simply saying give us a sign or show your presence can trigger the ghost to throw something at you or maybe turn a light on or off. It's probably the best and most immersive thing, and coupling this with the atmosphere that I mentioned before makes this game extremely scary if you're alone. With friends, it's a bit less scary but also more scary at times depending on what you say. The ghost will act up if you mention being afraid or say its name to your friend, so you could simply remind them of the name with the ghost and it's all downhill. Other great mechanics are things like the EMF reader, which is genuinely scary at times because you could just be in a room by yourself and then boom, EMF level 5, and it really does throw me off sometimes. Ouija boards are similar to the spirit box in that they directly respond to you, but the game gives you a slim chance of failing a question, and if that happens, you better get the fuck out because you're about to get hunted. Oh, and speaking of hunts, yeah, hunts are terrifying. If you're ever in a room alone with your flashlight or lights on and they start flickering, go. Hunts can be one of the most terrifying things ever, especially if you're in the vicinity of where the ghost is, as you can directly see them as they spawn, getting ready to go after you. Especially now with a new update to the game that allows them to hear you when you're talking, as well as go to your last known location. Hunts can be really scary, and if you're not used to what you're doing, you can die a lot. Every ghost also has a different type of thing it can do when it hunts. Some are faster than others, some target only one person, and some can just be far scarier in general. So if you're not expecting them to be the way they are, if you hadn't figured out what type the ghost is yet, you can be in for a really rude awakening. And if you hear your heartbeat and the ghost croaking, it's all over. So now you combine everything I've said about the mechanics with everything I said about the atmosphere, and you get why I said this game is kind of terrifying, right? This last one's a little bit weirder as it is technically a mechanic of the game, but I think that this is enough to give it its own section, and that's the randomness. This has made it infinitely more scary for me because the game really just changes everything up anytime you play it. You could play on the same map over and over with the same equipment and same people by your side, but the thing that always changes is the type of ghost and where it's at on the map. Having the ghost be different every time just makes the game super fun because, again, you could really get down with a type of ghost and understand how it works, and then boom, now you're dealing with a revenant that can move faster than fucking anything else in the game and just kill you immediately during a hunt. It's just a way to make the game feel more immersive. If anytime you go to hunt, no matter if the terrain is the same, the ghost never really is. Some ghosts that are the same also don't act the same every time, and I think it's just a great way to get more on edge when I play the same map 3 times in a row. It also, from just a normal game playing bit, makes the game feel not repetitive and not too boring after a while. And I'm sure at some point I'll get tired of it, and at some point even the randomness will become less random and just more work. But for right now, it helps make the game super fun and super scary. Where are you?
Behind. Let me be in your video, dumb ass. Phasmophobia is a really new game, but I actually really like it. One of the things I really love about Phasmophobia is the fact that they managed to make the most boring concept super fun. Because I used to watch a lot of like Ghost Adventures and like, you know, monster hunting TV shows, lost tapes and all that. And it's usually just waiting for 45 minutes until that one big ooh at the end of the episode. But Phasmophobia puts you in their shoes. So each like aching moment of this uncomfortably like soft and slow burn is terrifying. Shit's moving around, paintings falling on the ground, motherfuckers always making sounds. What other bars can I rhyme it with? I'm a clown. Anyway, I have a lot of fun playing Phasmophobia with Jay, and now all the boys got it, so I'm hyped to just play with everybody. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's scary too. It's really scary because there's barely any lighting in it, and it actually keeps you from turning on any lights, because after you turn on 5 lights, the whole damn fuse breaks. That or the homeboy gets pissed and wants to eat your dick, and it's just not a good time.
So, at the end of the day, Phasmophobia is easily, again, one of the scariest games I've ever played, and one of the most fun still. The game is even in early access too, so it could be added and expanded upon in no time to deliver a game that's even better with time. From the time that I started writing the script to now when I'm recording it, they've even added a ton of new mechanics, such as, again, the ghost can now hear you when you talk during a hunt and will travel to your last known location. The game keeps updating and probably will keep updating until full release, and I'm so excited to see new maps, mechanics, and even possibly ghosts show up with time. If you haven't played it, I definitely recommend it. It's pretty cheap and just really good fun, whether you're playing alone, with friends, or with randoms in an online lobby. And speaking of friends, go check out the game on Lion's Honor Gaming with Parker. I am playing the series with him. Go subscribe to him as well. Him being in the video was really fun, and I had a lot of fun playing and recording footage for this video with him. He is a great content creator too. Until next time, I've been JayTheZoomster, and that's what makes Phasmophobia so scary.